We have with us Dr. Vijay Kumar Devarakonda. He has done his BE in Electronics and Communication Engineering from University College of Engineering. Subsequently, he's done his MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, specializing in marketing and behavioral sciences with a PhD. He has more than 22 years of experience in the education sector and related arenas. He is visionary, leadership trainer, mentor, counselor, and strategic thinker in the education field. He is a life skill trainer and has touched the lives of more than 25,000 students. Apart from training in the higher education and K-12 sector, he runs an international standard school in Hyderabad, of which he is a co-founder. He has launched many brands, been an entrepreneur and mentor to startups which have survived the test of time. During his professional life, he has many firsts in the country to the credit. Some of them are implemented national curriculum framework, has conceptualized and rolled out campus recruitment training, has designed multimedia-based training and in-house training centers, personality development program for students. Currently, apart from overseeing his own school, he is also the director of Osmania University Idea Labs, an incubation center of Osmania University, and a member. Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Osmania University. He is also a member of the governing body of Sardar Patel College, Secunderabad. He has been associated with various genuine non-profit organizations and helped them on their path to reach the desired goals. He was instrumental in reviving the Alumni Association University College of Engineering, Osmania University. Further, he was the organizing secretary of the Alumni Committee of Osmania University and a core pillar for leading an initiative to adopt 100 villages in Telangana state under the aegis of Osmania Model Village. We are humbled to have you here, sir. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Priya, and I would like to thank IIEM for giving us this opportunity to talk to our fraternity of teachers. And it is so nice, I've been, on and off. I was there at the inaugural, then subsequently some of the programs. Okay, it was so nice that such a huge congregation has come together and trying to understand the nuances of how we should move forward with respect to the quality of education and in implementing the futuristic vision of this nation. Okay, so I think the topic that has been given to me is NEP teachers' role in taking education to the international standards. Okay, so I think I personally feel that we all are empowered, and each one of us in this space as a teacher, I would say, okay, in the education sector, specifically in the K-12. I think all of us know most of the stuff that we are actually talking, because I think we have already gone through cycles of this in terms of the National Curriculum Framework 2005, and we have implemented a lot of stuff there. But the NEP 2020 is slightly modified or different or radically different, I would say, because it is revolutionizing the way actually education has to be seen. Like, for example, it is more based on the psychology of the child. The structure, the pedagogic structure has been actually broken into. So I think today's session of mine is mostly got to do with what we actually are already doing. Some of us are already doing, some of us are way ahead of it, and some of us are yet to catch up. But I think somewhere or the other we have seen all the flavors that we're going to talk about. So it's more of a recall, okay, today, of what all we've been doing and what to be discarded and what we need to take forward, specifically taking into cognizance the National Education Policy 2020. Now, if you actually broadly look at this, it is basically saying nothing but it's going to lay foundations for literacy and numeracy, that is in terms of how many people are going to be literate, okay? And at the same time, being just literate is not the question there, but whatever education processes they are going to, they should be able to apply it. So skill development also plays a critical role here. And this is visioned as a transformation for India and to face the challenges of the 21st century. Now, the top key takeaways, according to me, what I personally feel, okay, when I looked at the whole NEP 2020, the most glaring that we are actually looking at is the early childhood care education. That means we are talking about the preschool. In today's term, what we're calling as preschool, because no longer we're going to call it preschool as per the NEP as you go by. And the complete change in the way the pedagogical structure is all about, okay, and the new curricular that's going to come up. I'm talking specifically with respect to K-12 per se, okay. Now, when it comes to holistic, multidisciplinary education and an academic bank of credit, is more focused on the higher education side. So I think in today's discussion, I'll be focusing more on the concerns that we have in the K-12 sector. Now, if you look at the early education structure, or all of us know this adage, old jungle saying, it says it takes a village to raise a child. Now, what are we talking about here when we're talking about it takes a village to raise a child? Till my knowledge goes, when I was interacting with my parents or my grandparents, if I'm able to recall, they actually went to a formal school only at the age of 10 years, okay. They had a system of first form, second form, third form, fourth form, fifth form, pre-university and university, okay. So till fifth grade, their complete learning was actually happening in the village itself, and they were as good as any child today, okay, who's 10 years of age or who's in fifth grade, kind of a thing, because they knew about numbers, they knew about basic knowledge, colors. They had something called the Pedabala Shiksha and the Chinnabala Shiksha, which the village priest or somebody used to take care of teaching it. But the complete gamut of the village was a field of learning for them. They used to make their own toys. They used to go to the carpenter. They used to work there. Okay, they used to go to the fields, look at vegetables, okay, and so on and on. If we actually look at it, up to grade 5, this is what we do in our classes too. We teach the child or expose the child to colors. In a village, the child is exposed to natural colors, and so on. So basically, we have put in a complete village, we compressed it into the concrete jungle, and we formalized it, and we're engaging in what we call as education. So I'm not saying we should go back to a village kind of a thing, but I'm just throwing this up because we need to understand how the child was growing naturally there. And here we are actually teaching him something, okay, taking him away from nature. Because when you look at the NEP model, okay, especially for preschool and up to grade 2, that is up to age of 7 or 8 years, okay, we will understand this, okay, because the whole structure is gone on the psychological growth of a child. So I think basically what we are doing in this concrete jungles in our schools over here today is we are actually recreating a village. So think of a village when you're actually teaching. We can talk about a lot of programs, or at the tactical level, okay, events that we do for kids to connect it, take them to a village on a tour. They're all at the tactical level. And we are talking at a very philosophical level over here. Now, if you look at the major, the transformational curriculum or the pedagogical structure that we're talking about, historically or in the last 30 or 40 years, we've had a system of 10+2, where preschool was not considered as schooling per se as such. But the new academic structure that the NEP is throwing at us is basically, up to 5 years is clubbed together into one age or into one category. Okay. Then the next 6 years is categorized into 3+3. Okay. Here we're talking about grade 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to 12 together is one. Now, why it has been done, etc., and based upon the psychological growth of a child, what kind of methods that we need to apply for kids to learn is the bottom line. Scientifically, when you're looking at it up to the age of 7 or 8 years, that is, you're talking about grade 2, the child is basically not knowing why you're making him do something. For him, everything is fun. Okay. So fundamentally here, I think we talk about, learning through fun is the concept or philosophy that gets adopted. It's all play-based learning up to 5, and even up to grade 2. Mostly it is activity-based, interactive-based, and play-based. So this is what we've classified and said as learning through fun is what we talk about, or activity-based learning kind of thing. Here, I think you can create a village in your school and teach multiple subjects in a specific gamut with theme-based education. I think most of us are exposed to these jargons and the methods that are there. The next phase that we're talking about is introducing formal subjects. At the same time, you are awakening the child's thought processes. Okay, if you look at it, what we call in Sanskrit is jignasa, inquiry. So here we are getting into a mode of inquiry-based learning for the child. That means we need to be prompting, or our methods that we use would basically be to enhance the inquiry into inquiries for the child. Means question based. You should prompt the child to ask questions. We should make the child think and ask questions. So most of us have used the question methodologies over here, and experiential learning. We have introduced experiential learning over here. So when you're going through experiential learning, then you also have the inquiry automatically kicks in. So the formal subjects. The last stage that you're talking about is grade 9 to 12 is basically, preparing the child for life, to go out and face the higher education system. So here what we're talking about is more of a skill-based kind of an environment that gets created for him to gain skills, whether it is academic skills or life skills or whatever kind of basic fundamental skills that are required for him to go out into the real world. So I think this is a fantastic model, because we talked about this in NCF also 2005, but I think it is finally the structure has been changed today. Then they did not touch the academic structure per se, but today the NEP 2020 came out with a bang and said, change it as per the psychological growth of the child. And it's a fantastic thing that has happened. And I think, and I'm 100% sure each one of us over here who's there in this program today have used all these methods that we're talking about, and we are sure that we're going to go and take the NEP head on, because the topic was saying international standards. I think if you do all this, you are beyond international standards, to be honest with you. Now, what should be there? What should we do? What is the role of a teacher over here. See, basically, if you look at the whole gamut, fundamentally it boils down to being passionate and motivated about it. Am I willing to experiment? Am I willing to do the research work and spend that little time in terms of bringing out those activities or themes, or I'm gonna, or should I just do what I'm doing right now? Because the pedagogy is going to change, the practices are going to change. So your role is no longer going to be a teacher, but your role is more of going to be a mentor or a facilitator. And here it is very critical that if we don't enjoy the process, that means if I'm not passionate about what I'm doing to help my child learn and be motivated by myself, then I think, that's the hard rock. We need to build that. Next is creating a classroom environment. The infrastructure required here, the managements definitely play a very key role, okay, for a holistic kind of an education and for empowering a mentor or a teacher to be effective in a classroom. The managements play a very critical role, and at the same time, as a mentor, am I creating an environment for learning or an environment for teaching? A very, very, very subtle difference. A lot of people say, I think all of us understand that we moved away from teaching to learning methods. So today it's all about learning. Has my child learned? Has my class achieved the minimum learning levels? It's no longer whether I have delivered the class or I've finished the syllabus, etc. I think this major shift is definitely going to happen because that is what is the need of the hour. And we need to be very well qualified and also well trained in the methods of content development, because when you're talking about a teacher, historically was not into content development. It was more into having a textbook and taking the content from the textbook. But here I think because it is going to be multi-dimensional, it is going to be multi-facet, and it is going to be learning by doing, etc. We need to be trained. Here again, the management role plays a very critical role in terms of training the teachers towards, building the content required for their particular class. And it is not that I build the content once and it is done. I build the content, but every year my demographics of the class changes, okay, and I need to be reworking on my content. So it's an all and all. When you look at it, it is, one has to be passionate about it and self-motivated. That we're going to be there because there is a lot of work that's involved. Change in the way we're going to teach. We need to be qualified. We need to get trained. We need to be competent enough. We need to go into a mold of mentoring, and there's tremendous support that is required from the management to also create all these environment. The bottom line is, discarding the age-old practice of chalk and talk. I think this is where the major shift is going to come. Chalk and talk, by rote learning, etc. All these age-old methods and practices need to be going beyond the learning methodologies. Next is what we are seeing is we're going beyond books. Children are no longer restricting their knowledge with respect to only the textbooks. There are a lot of examples. Actually, each one of you also would have practiced these in your regular schools. Okay. A lot of examples. One of the examples that I can give you over here is
participate. Please note yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa. So basically, one of the difficult topics that we saw in social sciences was civilizations. Okay. I am 100% sure that at least 50% of the teaching fraternity in the whole country, not only in our country, on the globe, might have difficulty in spelling Mesopotamia. Okay. Imagine a child, being exposed to such kind of, words at that early age of sixth grade kind of a thing. So what we actually did was we did not teach civilizations per se. Okay, but we said as a project group, we divided the class into 5 groups, okay, of 6 each, and gave a task of saying, you guys go prepare, a presentation on civilizations by yourself, and there is no textbook, there's no limit. Believe me, the kids came back, and we were amazed at the kind of presentations they have made. Okay, they've gone to libraries, they've gone to encyclopedias, you have the Google Mama anyway, they've done their whole, homework, and they came, and we were shocked to note that the textbook limits their knowledge only to 6 or 7 civilizations or 5 civilizations. But they came out with n number of civilizations that we as, mentors ourselves might have not come across. Fantastic. I'm telling you, there's such wonderful things that the kids can do. So books are actually limiting their knowledge. And one of the key aspects of NEP is to break these barriers of books. And this rat race to complete the syllabus. So that the kids have to understand the topics. I just took a topic in social sciences, but we can go on and talk about topics in, sciences, math, where it all is based upon inquiry, because that's where, when you're talking about why India is such a large country and we don't have innovation, because we are not allowed to think from the day we are born. We're actually not allowed to think from the day we are born. Okay, I'm sorry to say this, okay? And it is not that I'm a saint and I'm preaching. I also do the same to my kids because it's part of a culture. Knowingly or unknowingly, we do it. So it becomes very, very imperative for us to go beyond, because the kids also are far beyond us. Today, they have access to all information. I'm speaking to the child and they're Googling at the back and coming out with, crazy questions, and they ask you and put you in a tight spot. There's nothing wrong. All of us are learners. We are all lifelong learners inside the class. And there is no end to learning per se. And the other aspect that the whole NEP is focusing is going beyond books. When I say, is the holistic development of a child, building the leadership attributes in a child. The most critical attribute, what I personally feel, is the child in a child that we stop building. Okay, from the time he's a small baby, as a culture, is being fearless. Even a baby, a small baby, okay, when the mom is feeding the baby, she sings the lullabies, she shows the Chandamama, and she starts feeding the child. Suddenly the child stops or resists eating. What happens after 5 minutes? Bhuchodu comes and takes you away if you don't eat. Somebody, a devil is going to come and take you away. Eat fast. See, from when the child is such a tiny baby, we instill fear into the child. Do this, don't do that. We have such, personally, I feel we have such wrong notions about discipline. Discipline means we talk about being regimental. So how do you wean out these from our children in our own classrooms who are looking up to us? So you need to think and come out with the processes at the tactical level. I'm not going to talk or discuss over here about the tactics, but I can throw examples. The most easiest way you can take out fear from a person is by exposing the person's, personal security zones to public. Put them on the stage. Make them speak in assemblies, make them speak in front of the class. Very simple things. Take the fear out. Make them ask questions and don't consider asking questions as indiscipline. Many parents come to me and say, my child has become indisciplined, asking too many questions. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. It is not indiscipline at all. So help a child. For me, discipline basically means that we should make a child understand how to conduct himself in a given environment, period. That is discipline. If he is in the classroom, there is a code of conduct he follows. If he's in the dining hall, when he meets elders, that's discipline. Discipline doesn't mean being silent and keeping shut and being regimental. How the child conducts. So there is a lot that we need to do as mentors over here for the child beyond books, beyond one example only I gave you about the civilizations, but what is very, very, very critical is beyond books is the leadership side of it. How do you build them fearless? Take it from me, we have observed being leadership trainers too. Anyone who's fearless is the one who's made it. Once you're fearless, fearless doesn't mean blind fearlessness. Once somebody is fearless, who's open to discussions, who's ready to ask questions in whatever forum the child is in or wherever they are, automatically risk taking, assessing risk, all these will follow behind. So, my dear mentors and teachers, please look beyond books. In our race to complete our syllabuses, in our race to deliver, okay, I do understand. I'm also part of us. I'm also part of the fraternity. I do understand the pressures we have from the parents that school is finished 5 chapters, you've finished only 2 chapters. This teacher is slow, maths teacher is slow, English teacher is fast. I do understand all these because we've been going through all this. But the fact is, if we can integrate beyond books into the classroom when you're delivering itself, your regular sessions, it would be fantastic and phenomenal. Next is also, I'm sorry to say this, give this feedback to you. Technology matters. Most of us, okay, including our own schools or the big schools where we are very savvy with technology and we've been using online teaching methods in the last year and a half. Once the pandemic set in, I think we are far behind our children in terms of technology. We're far behind. Okay. For us, we might be savvy with the machine. We might be savvy with, logging in and delivering a class, but we are far behind in terms of using the resources available for, with respect to technology. Unfortunately, this is going to be inevitable for us because as we go by, schools will definitely be moving into a hybrid kind of a model. Okay, because National Education Policy 2020, when I see there is a lot to be done and 24 hours is not sufficient, for us to do it. So we might be changing the method. So you might be getting into a hybrid mode. You might be using technology. Okay. And you might have to upload the sessions before itself. Maybe the sessions, the classrooms would be meant only for discussions and activities. If you look at how are you going to do all this, that 1 hour session or 3 hours, 3 periods of math and 3 periods of science in a week, that's the standard, right? We have the core subjects 333. Okay, will it be sufficient for us to do all this? So then we need to be supplementing it with something. So maybe we would be designing our own content or develop our own content and throw it in the net, and the child will actually go through it and come and you're only doing activity based or some kind of learning by doing or peer based activities taking forward. So unfortunately or fortunately, technology is something that we need to be working on. We need to upgrade. Okay. And I'm open with you. Okay. Along Tutorhoot, along with Schools of India, we have come out with a online teacher certification program, and we've been doing it across India. And we found even in the best of the best schools, the usage of tools is so less. Second is the teacher classroom management has become a challenge. One to many students, we're not able to understand if the child is following, is switched off his camera or whatever. Okay, you get to know that the child has switched off his camera because you might have a helper who's looking at all that. Okay, we've devised our own methods and techniques. Two mentors sitting together, one mentor delivering the class, the other mentor looking at the chat, seeing who switched. See, we did all these. See, we're also learning. We also learned, right, in the last 1 year. But the fact remains that most of us were unable to use the fantastic tools that are available for us. And we also forgot what we did in our own offline schools. We could have done that in the online too. But in the race against it, we forgot. Peer learning, you could have thrown a couple of projects at your, divided your class into 5, throw the projects at the child and ask them to come back. Some of us would have done it. I'm not saying we've not done it, but I'm talking from a majority point of view. I'm not joking. We had such a great laugh when cheek of a bone, one of our students actually, came into the class as an old mentor, okay, teacher with her login, he's proxy, okay, and disrupted the whole class and then walked out, and everybody thought it was the teacher who left the school who's done that. So I think the kids are far ahead of us. I think in Chennai too and other newspapers, we've seen how the kids, have been taking us for a ride. That's fine. The kids are always naughty and we also went through it. That's fine. But end of the road, I think technology matters and we need to be moving ahead. The other point that I very sincerely believe is change is inevitable. The belief system that we are going to adopt, we have lived all throughout our lives in a certain fashion. Suddenly now there is a change and we need to start believing that this is going to work. So instilling this belief into ourselves, okay, that this is how we're going to do, and the efforts that we're going to put in play a very, very, very critical role. So this is what I thought I will communicate to all of you guys today. I was told 1 hour, but I was asked to cut it short by 30 minutes. So some of the fantastic stories I cut out. So any questions? 30 minutes is done for me.
We would have loved to hear your stories, sir. But from whatever you have said, if there's any questions that our audience have, we would want them to ask sir so that he can explain and share his views on it. Any questions, please?
So Sarah brought everything, made us all awestruck, bringing the reality. We are questioning to ourselves.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, please, ma'am. Please shoot your question.
No, what I said is, sir, what all you spoke now, no, it is like questioning ourselves. Yes, we are questioning whether we are doing like this or whether we have left anything. Are we not using the tools effectively? All those things. Yes, we are thinking. We are reflecting back. It is like reflecting within us. Thank you very much for giving the very insightful within a very short span of time, 30 minutes, and you have made us think, rethink, do what is needed now. So like grouping children, even though they are sitting in virtual mode, we can group them. We can group them 2, 2, 3, 3. We can make them make a group project. That's really great, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. In fact, to be honest with you, you guys can do wonders. We have done wonders already. Offline, you can do online, offline. Now NEP, I'm sure you're gonna crack the whole of NEP inside out. But my only suggestion to each one of us is we've gone through one cycle of this change. You know, when we talked about National Curriculum Framework 2005 was implemented. So I think our major learnings come from there when you're talking about a shift or a paradigm shift or a change in the way we are going to approach the learning processes. So I think in spite of all the major training, etc., and all that even the government has spent Navodayas and, each one of us have gone through it, still all of us have to sit and reflect and see and reflect and see how effective we were and were we able to do justice. Okay, it is the same. So keep building. We are learning a lot of things as you go by, and take it forward. So NCP, National Curriculum in NCF 2005 is going to be a reflection point for us to benchmark us and see, because you've done it for 5, 6 years or 7 years. You've done formative assessments.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
This is Venkatesham.
Yeah, Venkatesham.
So I have some doubts, sir.
Sure.
How can I know creating classroom environment? Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm listening.
What is creating classroom environment?
See, basically, shall I answer, Venkatesham?
Sir, please, sir.
See, basically creating classroom environment, it is not just the physical infrastructure, okay, based upon what you are actually going to deliver in the classroom, but also preparing the children, specifically for a particular topic, is what is very critical. So you might have learning corners. See, there are very innovative ways, and there would be hundreds of things that our fraternity over here would have done already. One of the happy corners, you'll have learning corners. Okay, then how you display things in your classroom. All these come into creating a classroom environment. How are you preparing your children for a particular session?
Okay.
There are a lot. Actually, if you just Google, you'll find hundreds of techniques.
Okay.
Hello,
Sir,
sir.
yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank
Hello,
you
sir.
much, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Ghazala,
Ghazala here from Gwalior.
tell me, ma.
Sir, how to make online teaching more effective?
Online teaching more effective. Okay. Now, if you actually look at it, have you used voice notes?
No.
Okay. Have you used videos?
Yeah.
What videos did you use? Animations did you use?
Yeah, animations.
Fantastic. Okay. Now, have you tried peer learning?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you tried project-based learning? In online, I'm talking about all this online only.
Online not tried, sir.
Offline, did you try?
Yeah.
Well, convert it to online. Ask the child to make a small ask the kids to make projects and present and make the child present. You don't take the class, sum it up like how it is done in IITs or IIMs or higher education. Let the kids present. No, beta.
Okay.
समझ गए?
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Offline का ही online कर दो, कोई tension नहीं है. Only thing is, it is going to be a little tough for us because we need to spend more time.
Yeah.
You hardly have any time given online, with the restrictions of government. At least in Telangana, they said you can't do classes more than 3 hours or something like that. It is the moment you talk about project.
Here also same.
So I think we have our own challenges, but Make it exciting for the children, make it inclusive learning, get the children get involved in the learning process, then half of the job is done. The problem today is why it is happening is it is most of it is including most of the schools or wherever I've gone, most of us were delivering like how it's a classroom lecture through online.
Mm.
That's the last thing. Actually, you can pre-record a video of yours, ask the children to see the video, 40 minutes you come and play with us.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Definitely, I'll do. Definitely. Thank you so much, sir.
40 minutes,
Good afternoon, sir.
40 minutes online that you're going to do is playing means you can have a game around that topic that you're teaching. You can have a presentation. हजार things कर सकते हैं.
Good
Okay, sir.
afternoon, sir.
Definitely, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Please go on.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. Sir, this is Anjali Om from Jammu and Kashmir. I'm talking to you right now from the remotest corner, wherein we are, in fact, far away from being techno savvy. Sir, I have a simple question. Like I did appreciate the definition of discipline as far as your good self was deliberating upon, and I did like it. It is a transformation for me also, because I would be, more of the time I would be calling myself a disciplinarian, holding a rod in my hand at time and losing my temper. But then, sir, how about, I have been doing it. I'm a mother also. I have been doing it to my child also. Like if I am feeding my child, the child takes the feed in a very lucid manner, then it is okay. I'll be singing a song, sort of a, dialect, regional language, that folk song. But all of a sudden, when the child irritates, I too get irritated. And I would be scolding the child by saying, Bhoot aayega. And, I would be talking about devils and all. So, same happens in the class. Like, if I'm taking a child of class 5, and I would like to add over here, I am from the remotest corner and I have a school, I'm in a government school. The children from there are this generation learners. So, sir, what at times happens that the child becomes so furious, that the child becomes so naughty that even after trying so many tales of patience, I generally become what you call regimental. I lose my temper, and sir, I just wanted your good self to tell me how to deal in such a situation wherein I would not be banging upon my head against a wall. Thank you.
Thanks, Anjali. A fantastic question. Okay. And see, basically, I will also not say spare the rod and spoil the child. Point one. Okay. You need to draw a line because these are all very, very philosophical and very thin line exists. Okay. So
Right.
you need to be absolutely first and foremost thing when a child is naughty, being naughty is the natural self of a child. All of us have gone through. We all have been naughty. Okay. But where do you draw the line? Is the naughtiness getting into bullying? There are other factors that kick in. Okay. But
Yes, sir, sir, naughtiness, when it gets transformed, so we have also our pressures and pulls from our higher up. We need to go with the syllabus, we need to go with the curriculum, we need to design, we need to, sir, so many things, examinations to be taken on board. So, sir, such things when they, like the child turns to be, sir, they are generally not naughty as far as class 7th or 8th is concerned, I believe. They try to be.
no, but I think
Hello,
we
Seema
lost.
ma'am.
We losing you. Your voice is on and off, so not.
Hello, sir, I was basically asking, like, we have our pressures and pulls upon us, like the pressures and pulls from our examination heads, our principal, and from other corners. So, as far as class 7th or 8th is concerned, if the child is not coming up to the expectations, and even if he's not naughty, he's just, shifting from that, towards that bullism, and he is creating indiscipline in the class, should we spare him, or should we take up to some other solution or some other technique?
There is no prescriptions in behavior as such, because even though I've specialized in behavioral science from IIM Bangalore, from day one we strongly believe that there are no prescriptions. Okay, because it completely depends upon the environment you are in, because I might give you some prescription here and it might not work there. Okay, because the demographics are different, the psychographics are completely different. So when it comes to behavioral aspect, unless and until the specific case, there is no prescription per se, and even to specific cases we can't give prescription. But broadly I will explain to you how to go about it. The best way to identify why a child is, we need to spend some time. Like, you are at home, right? You said you are a mom, okay? And we have all our pressures at home too. You have to take care of the child, you have to take care of your professional life, you have to ensure, you know, everything is in place. You need to ensure that breakfast is done before you leave to school. I understand all the pressures of my, sister fraternity from the education sector. 8 o'clock sharp or 8:30, you have to be at school, whatever it is. 10 minutes late आया तो, attendance जाएगा. Because what we are all having all the pressures. There's so many things. Our own children keep troubling us. But how do you handle your child? We might get angry. There is nothing wrong. It's a reaction. Okay. But sit and negotiate with the child. Understand what the core issues are. This is where going beyond books comes. This is where it comes. I do understand all the pressures of management to, last but not the least, I know so many managements put the teachers also into fee collection, which is not right. Wo alag pressure. But what I'm trying to put across is, negotiate, look at what the child is, why the child is. We need to take out that little time. Unfortunately, you might have 30 children or 40 children in a class. You need to take out and understand. And then this is where actually, if you ask me, my personal feedback is in National Curriculum Framework 2005, because we were part of the team along with Professor K.K. Mehta doing on the behavioral side. We were very clear that the attributes that a teacher is going to assess a child, the teacher is not trained. So she only has to look at the child as a mother and then start marking the attributes on this side, non-academic attributes. But how do you make them feel it? So it is observation. So how long you observe the child? Okay, we do have child psychology and all those aspects in our BEd, and but experience is the master. Mother is the bottom line, is what we feel from the behavioral background. We said, koi bhi teacher mother hai na, because 90% are mothers only, 90% are women. So I think it will work. So
Thank you so much, sir.
So look at it from your own child point of view and then assess the situation. Negotiate with the child. There's nothing wrong. Kaan pakad ke beta kare, kya kar raha hai tu? Ye le chocolate. Bol, kya ho raha hai?
Thank
Get
you so
close
much,
to the
sir.
child.
So
We have handled naughty rascals.
So this session of yoga itself has really been an honorable moment for me. I'm accepting it. I learned a new definition for discipline. I would be first of all implying it to myself, and then I'll try to impose it upon others in a very lighter mode.
Thank you, beta. Thank you.
And thank you. And vis-a-vis, sir, I would be in fact showing my gratitude to Seema ma'am also. She has been very.
Ma'am, we lost you.
Anjali ma'am.
Yeah, Anjali, we lost you a little bit, beta.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sir, I wanted to extend my thankfulness to Seema ma'am also, who has been very, with a smile carrying on her lips. She has been very appreciative and very concerned. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much, Seema ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that appreciation.
Sir, may I?
Yes.
Am I audible? Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Sir, I would like to ask that under NEP, we have reduced the burden on 10th grade students by giving them in mathematics as basics and standards. So how about that, sir? If we include one more thing, like can we try to apply one more method to those children who are gifted? I don't like to say dull students. Those are gifted because we can do experiments on them and we are proving that they are best. So those children, keeping them in view, can we add arts or computer and some other where children are interested? Can we add it as a main subject right from 8th grade, sir, as science, mathematics, English? would it be possible, sir? I'm sorry if I didn't reach.
You're asking is a very specific technical question that I think would be spelled out by CBSE. Okay, what are the alternative, courses that additional courses the child can take? You need to look at the CBSE. But to be honest with you, there is nothing between basic and standard. If you teach math properly, okay, the fundamentals are taught well. Basic and standard is nothing but both are same. If you look at maths per se, because we've gone through the process, even when we were small kids, we had general maths and composite maths. So composite maths वाले तोप समझते थे. जनरल मैथ्स जो मेडिसिन जाने का था उन लोग जनरल मैथ्स लेते थे. जो एमपीसी लेके इंजीनियर बनने चाहते थे, those guys used to take composite, and we all used to feel topes like हम composite maths पढ़ रहे. But technically, after 2 years or 3 years, what we realized is the convergence. There is nothing. There's not much of a actual difference per se. It is just that.
Sorry, sir. Ma'am, can you please mute?
The concepts
Please.
are the same. Slightly difficult level questions are asked. That's all. But if the concept is very clear to the child, he will answer any level of difficulty. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, would you mind sharing your email ID with us, please, in the chat box?
Sure, ma, I will do that.
Thank you so much, sir.
I'm doing it right away. Yep, I did that.
Thank you so much, sir, once again.
Any more questions, please?
Good afternoon, sir. This is Janaki Rani from Bangalore.
Yep, ma.
So is there any platform where we can, all the teachers, where we can share our experiences, that what happens in the class, any good thing, bad thing in WhatsApp group, or can we create anything? So often we hear this, we have to be, the classes should be effective. I know, I understand parents are worried about that school finished the 5 chapters, this school finished only 2 chapters, maths teacher is fast. All that you said, wonderful. I really liked it. But where can we have the balance, sir, where we can finish our syllabus and do our class effectively? How can we really do this? Can we create a group where all the teachers can participate in that group, and can we discuss?
Yes, ma'am, we can, but you already have your Sahodaya groups, right? You are part of the Bangalore Sahodaya fraternity.
Yeah.
So I think the Sahodaya groups themselves, normally you have a chat group, or I don't know how it is organized. I think, you can do that. Else we can request, IIEM to create a chat group for all the participants here and the speakers, okay, so that they can actually ask questions and we can answer. That's not an issue for us, because we are here to ensure that our children and next generations do well with whatever little we have learned in our lives. We would want to give back to them. So I think there's nothing wrong. I think IIEM can do this for the Teachathon separately. You can have a Teachathon 2021 group. Okay. I think there are about an average, I'm seeing 100 participants over here. All participants, I think 256 is what the maximum limit on WhatsApp chat is. Create a group, we'll interact and share a lot of stuff.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Can we do that, Seema?
Yes, yes, sir.
Can we do that, beta?
Certainly, sir. IIM is already running almost 7-8 different groups only to interact and engage in different ways. So if you can, you can rather join those groups, and we can also add Vijay sir into that group, and we can start interacting.
Done. Thanks a lot.
So, ma'am, Seema ma'am, you sent WhatsApp number. So, can we join in that, ma'am?
Yes, those are the groups that we have created, ma'am. So you can join any of those groups.
Thank you so much.
So your email address, please.
I think he's sent it.
So we have not been able to receive it in the chat box.
Not yet.
Posted my email ID. I'll do it once more.
So probably you have to send it to everyone. There's an option of everyone.
Oh, I got it. I'm sorry. I think it's.
Actually, sir, we may be needing the help of your good self and the entire team, because I told your good self that we are in the teething stage. And see.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep, I think I posted it now.
There is a question from.
Yes, we can see it now, sir.
Just a small correction, Shiv here. It is vijay.kumar@tutoroo.com.
Yeah, I sent that. Vijay.kumar.
Comma undi Vijay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Seema ma'am, we can't hear you.
Yes, so there is a question that is coming from Pratima Virwani. Ma'am says that parents have started complaining that they have to sit with the kids to do projects. More difficult with kids with EWS background. So she's in the lookout of more ideas wherein child-friendly approach can be applied and wherein kids can do independent projects.
I think there's a lot of hand holding that is required. Normally what we do is we give a project and we say, "Kar leke aao. Go do this and come." Okay. So technically what happens is the child is not doing, parent is doing. We've seen that. There are very few parents who say you go do it for yourself. And there are wars at home, spouses fighting that you have to do. Mother coming and asking the dad. I have gone through this. I said, I'm not going to do. I've not done anything for my kids, except for if they come and ask me something, I guide them. That's all. This is good. This is bad. This is what. That's all. So technically, what happens is we also need to understand that when you're rolling out a project, okay, or something to the child, we don't give instructions. Na? कहाँ से करेगा बच्चा? इंस्ट्रक्शंस दो ना बच्चे को कैसा करना. प्रोजेक्ट देने से पहले क्लासरूम में एक आधा घंटा का एक्टिविटी करो, देन प्रोजेक्ट हाथ में थमाओ. Have a monthly, we have our parent teacher meetings, right? How many of us actually do a workshop for our parents every month or whenever you have a parent teacher meeting? नेको क्या है, मार्क्स इतना है, फीडबैक देना, तुम्हारा बेटा ये, बस खत्म. That itself is a major task, and there will be that 3 or 4 parents who will eat our heads and spoil our mood. Make it more fun. Have some workshops for the parents when they come. Bi-monthly or whatever it is. So you empower any of the spouses, one of the normally not both, but one of the spouses would be involved in the child's education, okay, or helping the child out. Let that spouse come as a parent and understand next 2 months or quarter what we're going to do, what kind of projects, how they can facilitate and complement at home. I know we are talking about all these ask for extra. So इसीलिए बोला beyond books अपन को extra जाना पड़ेगा. It's very easy saying from telling from here. But when you actually go for the implementations at the grassroots, then you will understand. Now you'll say I'll do a workshop for parents and you'll plan. Then the management will say क्यों लफड़ा करती है, आ रहा है individually आ रहा है, handling them individually is far better than handling them collectively.
Correctly said, sir. Correctly said.
So what I am saying is, there are pros and cons. So how you
package, and they
package.
don't allow us to do.
So what I'm saying is, so these are all the challenges that we've already seen. So you need to figure out how to ensure that you give good instructions, motivate the child to do the project by themselves.
Right. Okay.
Thank you for that input, sir. And Pratima ma'am, hope this answered your question. Over to you, Priya.
Thank you so much, Seema. Well, sir, I think it's been answered because sir felt that 30 minutes is what I have to speak, Priya. So, in that 1 hour, 30 minutes, but you do not know the other 30 minutes, what impact have you given to the teachers where they have already set their mind to reach that international standards. You have put on each of them the expectation, what they have to do, and a huge guidance. I'm sure at 30 minutes, it's a life learned lesson for them. And even for us too. Although we have not been academically involved like the teachers, for us, every session has been so enriching, so much of knowledge. We are indebted to all the speakers for the 3-day session that we have been having. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being here, making your presence felt, and for enriching our knowledge. Thanks to all the participants. It's an honor for me here, standing here, giving you my vote of thanks on this occasion. A hearty gratitude to all of you who have graced this inauguration. And it's not just only you, the entire committee, the audience, their family for taking their valuable time, especially on a Sunday. I thank our supporters, Tudor Route, AI School of India, Q Shala for being there and supporting these 3 days immensely. Extend my thanks to President of Hyderabad Sahodaya School Complex, President Dr. Narasimha Reddy, and President of Bangalore Sahodaya School Complex, Ms. Vamshi Priya Amar. I express my special thanks to Ms. Manila Karvalo, Dr. Sharada Chandrasekhar, Dr. Vasanti Tyagarajan for their continuous guidance, and our special advisors, Mr. Ram Ganesh, Mr. Suresh Murthy, and Mr. Rangarajan. Not but the least, I thank all the jury members, the participants who have been here irrespective of what situations, Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday, and making this a grand success. Because without you, we are nowhere. The entire IEM team who have worked relentlessly, effortlessly through these 3 days for putting up this fantastic show. Once again, stay safe. God bless all of you. Thank you so much for your presence for these 3 days. Thanks once again from the entire IEM team to all of you. Thank you.
Before leaving, we have a quick 5 minutes quiz, last quiz by IIEM through Q Shala for all of you.
Priya, Seema, and Shilpa, thanks a lot. And I thank IIM for doing a phenomenal job in terms of bringing so many under one roof. If you excuse me, can I leave? Because I was actually supposed to go out of station. I just have to shut this down and get into the vehicle.
Yes, sir. Have a safe journey.
Thanks a lot. And
Thank you, sir, for coming down and taking time for us. Taking the time out of us. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Stay back, participants, for the quiz, the last final quiz through IIEM by Q Shala for all of you. And I'm sure the way we are loving it, all of you are loving it the same.
Thank you, Seema. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. We're probably one last time, a couple of questions. I know you've been sitting in front of the screen for some time. So we just thought, all is well that ends well. So probably end well on a note of some fun questions. With that, yes. Are you all ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and with that, I will quickly share my screen. So this is just to test, how cross-learning really helps you, right? Something that you've heard somewhere, something that you've read somewhere, something that your friend told you, or something like that, right? So that really comes in handy. This is probably like subconscious learning that's just stuck in your head and just comes out when you have to answer a question. right? So that's what would probably come in handy here. And yes, here we go. This is your question. So this is a book called The 2-Minute Revolution. And this is just to tell you that I will also wrap up in like less than 5 minutes. So this book is about the growth of one of India's most recognizable brands. And the name of this book is a reference to its famous tagline, which may or may not be entirely accurate. So which brand are we talking about? So think about it. When was the last time you heard 2 minutes?
Maggie.
Okay, so if you know the answer, please send it on chat. Okay, a lot of right answers coming in. So think of when was the last time someone said 2 minutes, right? Okay, and see a lot of answers coming in, and probably choose Geeta ma'am. Let's just unmute Geeta Kandaraji, if I got your name right.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So
Can
what
you
do you
hear
think
me?
is the answer? Yes, we
Can
can
you-
hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. So Maggie noodles is, always it's referred to 2 minutes. And, as a teacher, we keep always, encouraging the children and giving the enthusiasm just by saying it's like, instant noodles. You love it so much. So just give 2 minutes before you answer, 2 minutes before you write the answer. 2 minutes wait before you give chance to others. Lot of values you inculcate in the class and to teach the concepts and to bring them to real life situations. So, my favorite, technique is 2 minutes. So it just flashed to me.
That's absolutely right. And everyone else on chat who said Maggie noodles also, give yourself a pat on the back because that's absolutely
you.
right. Yeah. Geeta ma'am, if I may request you to send in your details on a personal chat with me, your contact number and email address perhaps, so that we can ship the price. But so you realize how, something that you've heard casually, right? And it's not like anyone went searching for a Maggie ad, right? It's just something that you casually saw on TV that came in handy, right? And you just pulled it out of your memory. So that's the 2-minute revolution. And this is Maggie. And that's one way how, something that you're really emotionally attached to, right? If you try to bring in that in the learning concept, it always goes a long way, right? So one way could be like bring in movie references or pop culture references, right? I don't think anyone would forget, a movie scene or a song, right? So try to link your learning with that. And I think that goes a long way. With that, moving on to our next question. This is a device and it's called Plan Blank because it artificially recreates the process of pollination by imitating the motions of a particular creature, right? So what creature is this meant to replicate? You can either tell me what creature this is replicating, or this is also a phrase that we always use for alternatives, right? Okay, if this works, great. If not, we'll probably do this. This is like backup ka backup option, right? So what's that phrase which also means backup and which also is, yeah. Okay, a lot of right answers coming in on chat. I'm just going to choose someone at random. Okay, can I choose Vani Sumant, ma'am? Just unmute Vani, ma'am.
Hello, good evening. Yeah. Plan B is basically, can you hear me?
Yes.
Plan B is something we always keep in mind. If plan A doesn't work, we always go for the alternative. So that's what I feel. That's the way.
Absolutely. And so this is Plan B. So the device is called Plan B. It's trying to artificially create the process of a bee, right? We thought that's one light heart question using Plan B. And I must say, I'm really very happy how all the teachers are really picking up pace. And I think you're like chewing and spitting out the questions. You finally gained that confidence. So great answer, Vani ma'am. Again, request you to share your contact details with me personally. And with that, perhaps one last question. This is our way of checking if you've been paying attention to what we've been saying throughout the duration, all the couple of days. That's one way, that's a clue for you to figure out the answer for the next and perhaps the last question of today. Right? So which continent, home to the penguins, takes its name from the Greek for opposite to the north? Okay, so here's a postal stamp and it's dedicated to a specific post office, which is in this continent. And this continent is home of penguins and means opposite of the north. Okay, so your answer should sound little Greek. That's one clue, I must say, right? Multiple answers can be accepted, but I'm just saying your answer should sound a little Greek. Okay, can I choose Janaki Vijayalakshmi ma'am? Ma'am, if you could unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is your answer, ma'am?
My answer is it is South Pole, that the continent is Antarctica.
And what made you think it's Antarctica?
See, obviously, when you say that home to penguins means it is Antarctica, where it is completely a South Pole, which is freezing.
So, ma'am, you're very confident that's the right answer. So I'm not going to argue with it. That's absolutely right. So this is Antarctica. And yeah, if you were paying attention, we told you we're the only company to have conducted a quiz on Antarctica. And so Arctic is north, meaning north in Greek, and Antarctic is basically opposite of north,
yes.
Right? So that's how you can bring in a lot of etymology into geography related questions, and great observation in terms of it's snowing, it's freezing, and this is the Dakshin Gangotri post office, one of the unique post offices in the world by the India Post, right? And it's interesting how Antarctica, because generally these structures that you build there cannot withstand the cold, right? The extreme temperatures. You have research facilities and everything which are made out of container ships, right? So that's something very fascinating to explore. And that's a little humble brag and slight plug-in about Kyushala there. And yes, and with that, probably this is the last time probably ask you to turn on your camera. And at the risk of sounding like a dentist, I request all of you to flash your teeth, bring on the biggest smile, and turn on your camera. We take a group photo just to remember all the fun, all the learning, all the new friends that we've made from across the country. It's great to see, teachers and education experts coming in from across the country and sharing their learnings with us, right? Can I request everyone to turn on their camera? We'll just wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, and so at Kyushala, we have this general tradition, right? Normally, when we take a photo, we say cheese, right? But we're all desi people. We don't eat much of cheese. We're more of a paneer kind of a person, right? So, and paneer also brings a bigger smile on our face. So we thought, let's move the cheese and replace it with paneer, right? So on a count of 3, can everyone say paneer and bring the biggest smile? We'll take a photo together, right? So 3, 2, and 1, and everybody say paneer. Okay, one more time. Just moving across slides. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, paneer. Okay, thank you. Some of you still not turned on your video. It's okay. But thank you so much. I hope you had great fun, great learning. And do let us know in any way that Kyushala can be a part of your learning experience. Do check out our family quiz. You can go to our website. We're also sharing the links to our widget, Curiosity widget. You can try it out. You can contact. We're all open for feedback. We'd love to hear from all of you. Thank you. Have a great day and have a great weekend and stay safe.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vaishnavi, for such a great entertainment and building curiosity among all of us. And we'll surely get in touch with you again.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Stay connected with IIEM. Stay connected with us because we all love you.
Thank you, ma'am. God bless you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
Thank you, Seema. Keep smiling.